The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
When Eddie Murphy and John Landis come together to make a movie, it is safe to say that you're in for a good time. The magic happened first in Trading Places, and everyone wanted it to happen again in Coming to America. Oddly enough, there was a lot of backstage clashing between Murphy and Landis that almost came to blows, if you believe the rumors. But did they manage to make that magic happen again? I'm Meffistoe. Like, share, and subscribe because this is my review of the movie Coming to America.
I see the two of you are getting along.
In 1987, Eddie Murphy was riding high on the success of Beverly Hills Cop 2. In the 80s, Eddie couldn't do no wrong. Even The Golden Child, which was a terrible movie, wasn't terrible because of him. And here comes a project that lets Eddie explore something different other than just playing a cop or a petty criminal. Coming to America tells the story of Prince Akeem, the heir to the throne of a made-up country in Africa called Zamunda. Akeem is lavishly pampered and well taken care of, to the point where he doesn't even clean his own private parts or brush his own teeth.
Perhaps just once I might use the bathroom by myself.
Most amusing, sir. Wipers!
Akeem's marriage is also prearranged by his parents, but after meeting his future wife, he decides to rebel. He tells his father that he wants to sow his royal oats, which in today's terms means get down and funky with some ladies before you get married. But in fact, he hatches up a plan to find himself a woman that would love him for his personality and not his money.
I want a woman that's going to arouse my intellect as well as my loins.
Where will you find such a woman?
In America.
Together with his trusted right-hand man, Semi, they figure out the plan, and then there's the question of where to actually start.
Queens.
As Akeem settles into the American excursion, he begins to learn the true meaning of living in New York. First, he gets yelled at by the taxi driver, then he gets his luggage stolen and has to deal with a disrespecting landlord. Regardless, Akeem feels free for the very first time in his life, and he only wants to share his pleasure with the world.
Good morning, my neighbors! Hey, you! Yes! Yes! You too!
Akeem and Semi go right into it, and they start searching for Akeem's wife. They of course start with the local bars, but that doesn't seem to work that well for them.
And I want to tear you apart. And your friend too.
After the local barbershop owner takes them to a church gathering, Akeem sees this girl and falls for her. He decides that him and Semi should go to work for her father at the local fast food joint just to make sure he can be close to her and try and impress her. Sadly, Lisa has a boyfriend, which complicates things, but Akeem is resourceful. He tries to send a secret admirer card and a little gift with it, but she just thinks of her boyfriend.
I don't care how much a man admires you. He's not gonna give you earrings like that unless you're giving him a little booty.
Akeem tags along with Lisa and her boyfriend and of course her sister to a double date at a basketball game and nearly gets caught because he was recognized by a former citizen of Zamunda.
I cannot believe it! Oh. Greetings, Your Highness!
Things really turn around when Semi and Akeem stop a local thug from robbing the McDowell's shop, and Cleo, Lisa's father, asks the two to do some extra work at the house.
Freeze, you diseased rhinoceros pizzle.
Akeem gets closer to Lisa as she gets farther apart from her boyfriend, especially after he asks her father to marry her and not asking her first. The two lovebirds start to fall in love with each other from that point on, but they have to face one very important challenge. King Jaffe Jofar, the ruler of Zamunda, comes to America himself to bring Akeem back home to his marriage. And then he discovers Akeem's deception. You can tell Eddie Murphy had a blast making this film. First of all, he had his friend Arsenio Hall play opposite him. You can definitely tell these two are friends off-screen because their on-screen chemistry is clearly visible. But I do believe that it is not only that. Eddie had so much success behind him, it allowed him to demand something extra from the Coming to America team and director. Eddie wanted to play around and not just do one character, but multiple characters. If you've only seen Eddie Murphy Murphy's films from the 90s onwards, this is a regular thing for him. The Nutty Professor, Bowfinger, Norbit, and Meet Dave all had similar makeups, and all had multiple characters played by Eddie Murphy. It was even parodied by Jack Black in the movie Tropic Thunder as a stand-up comic playing multiple roles in an over-the-top silly comedies. But it all began with Coming to America. It was so brand new, and Eddie did such an amazing job with the different characters. People that watched the casting credits right at the end of the movie were blown away because some of the characters weren't obviously Eddie, but that was him all right.
Rocky Montana was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Montana ain't shit.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass.
The other cast members were not a bunch of slouchers either. It was comprised of veteran African-American actors like James Earl Jones, John Amos, and Madge Sinclair, and some newcomers like Eric LaSalle, Frankie Faison, Vondi Curtis Hall, and Sherry Headley. But even the bit parts contained a few well-known faces like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Samuel L. Jackson. This supporting cast was great, each in their respective roles to accompany Eddie's performance. But it was the Eddie Murphy show.
Hey, I ain't saying Clay ain't bad. I'm just saying I stopped liking Cassius Clay once he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. What kind of shit is that?
Putting aside the tensions between Landis and Murphy, John Landis proved again that he knows how to make great comedy, and despite his insane ego, created a movie that anyone can relate to. A story of a rich boy that wants to be loved for his personality rather than his riches. A boy that wants to step out of his father's ruling thumb and make it in the real world. Landis took this concept and put his characters in these ridiculous situations because he could do it. Because Akeem and Semi in this situation are a complete fish out of water characters. They may speak the language, but they do not understand the culture. And putting them in America, in New York of all places, ensures the culture shock and the comedy situations that derive from this particular experience.
And in the end, the Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin to a big H. It was a most ripping victory.
As a side note, Landis, because of this past work with Murphy, makes it clear that this story is told within the same universe as his previous film with Eddie, and inserting a small scene with a blast from the past.
Mortimer, we're back.
I will, of course, highly recommend you watch this movie. It's one of Eddie Murphy's best comedies of all time. Yeah, I said it, all time. His character work with all the different characters is absolutely superb, and it gave him the chance to play around and have some fun, and this is what entertaining is all about. Other than that, it's a silly comedy that gets a chuckle from me every single time I watch it, even when I know the jokes are coming. So all that's left for me to say is grab your soul glow, grab a copy of this movie, and just enjoy it.
So you would share your bed and your fortune with a beautiful fool.
That is the way it has always been with men of power. It is tradition.
I thank you for watching, and remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.